the Renaissance Lofts located in Camden, New Jersey. By investing in this project, you'll let Camden hit its stride. We're seeking $12.96 million to purchase and redevelop the lots at 320 to 326 Market Street into a 12-story mixed-use residential and retail building. Following 14 months of construction, we anticipate the building to be fully leased within 6 months and be sold in year 10 at a 7.64% cap rate. The property is just 5 minutes to Philadelphia, 4 blocks from the famous Camden waterfront, and is surrounded by educational and medical institutions. So Camden is located in New Jersey's Camden County, which sits just across the Delaware River from Philadelphia. Zooming into the Camden waterfront, you'll see that the city is easily accessible to Philadelphia by the Ben Franklin Bridge, which carries cars, pedestrians, and public transportation lines. Right here, we have Campbell's baseball field and other attractions such as the aquarium, Battleship New Jersey, and there's also a ferry which shuttles people between the two cities. Zooming out, you'll see that our property sits right between the two most promising hubs of development in Camden, downtown in the Cooper Grant neighborhood. Zooming in, you'll see that the property sits 1 building removed from the corner of Market and 4th Streets, and as a vacant lot, it really offers a blank canvas for a developer. Zooming down Market Street, you'll see the Philadelphia skyline in the distance, and turning the other direction, you can see Camden City Hall as well as the federal courthouse just diagonal from the property. And 1 block forward are the new graduate student dorms at Rutgers. So here's just an aerial view of the property, again, the corner of Market and 4th Streets. And then here's a front view of the property. You can see the wide vacant lot with some surrounding structures. A view from the back of the lot, looking out towards Market Street, you'll see the surrounding buildings as well as those dorms in the distance. And then just a view down Market Street to give a sense of the surrounding commercial corridor. So the Renaissance Lofts will offer 73,728 rentable square feet, split amongst 12 stories. The bottom 2 floors will be retail with 10 residential floors above, housing 58 loft apartments. And that'll be a mix of studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and even some premier 3-bedroom units. And besides spacious unit sizes, we'll provide ample amenities such as a gym, a library, and some rentable community space. So taking a look at the exterior of the building, we have those 2 ground floor retail with the residential above. And we'll offer brick facade, expanded windows, and high ceilings. So when a lot of people think of Camden living, the first thing that comes to mind are the abandoned structures which have for so long defined the Camden landscape. But with our development project, that is no more. We'll offer spacious units that pay respect to the industrial age of Camden, when it was the home to the RCA Victor, a global manufacturer of television sets, phonographs, and vinyl records. And then the ideal retail tenant for our property would be a grocery store. Since in 2010, the USDA named Camden a food desert, there's only 1 supermarket within the region, and it's neither centrally located nor near public transportation. And more specifically, we think a small urban grocer such as Whole Foods would be a great tenant. They've already entered cities such as Detroit with special hiring practices to support the local economy, as well as special pricing strategies to make their goods affordable. So Camden is really an ideal spot for such a system. So at this point, you may be thinking, why Camden? Not the most positive things come to mind initially, given its history of poverty, corruption, and crime, but it's really a city on a comeback. It's been featured in publications such as the New York Times and even on Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown. And some representative headlines read, "Opportunity knocks for Camden," and "Camden Development Projects kindle hope." And a firm that just relocated its headquarters to the city remarked on a real renaissance occurring as a reason for coming to the city. So why Camden? Why now? It's changing the landscape, its political landscape, its structural landscape, and its future landscape. In the political arena, Mayor Dana Red has been a huge force for the city. She's made statewide connections, and she's featured here with George Norcross, a huge player within the region, Steve Sweeney, head head of the New Jersey Senate and Governor Chris Christie, so she's really put Camden on the radar of top officials in the state. And under her direction, S&P gave Camden an investment grade rating of BBB+, which is a huge indicator of the city's transformation, as well as its ability to achieve operational efficiency. And it's the first time in more than 15 years that the city has gotten such a rating. Looking at its structural landscape, not long ago, Camden had approximately 3,400 abandoned properties, but using an $8 million public bond, 464 of these have already been demolished and 600 more are set to be demolished. Then looking at its future landscape, so Market Street, on which the property is located, is set to be the revived commercial corridor, which provide good demand for our retail component, and they also want to rebuild the surrounding residential base, so good for the residential part. Camden has the EDS and MEDS. It has Rutgers, it has Rowan, it has Cooper Medical School and Cooper Hospital. So all these huge institutions are making big investments and continue to make big investments in the region to really support private investments in the city. So it's also attracting big players. So following the 2013 Economic Opportunity Act, different tax incentive programs were created, such as the GREAA New Jersey Assistance Program, which since October of 2015 has awarded more than $1.1 billion in tax credits. Also, the Economic Redevelopment and Growth Program, which supports residential and commercial projects in the region. And under both of these programs, Camden projects receive the maximum benefits allowable, since Camden is a Garden State Growth Zone. And these programs have had huge successes. They've drawn firms such as the Philadelphia 76ers, which are building their practice facility and headquarters in Camden, Subaru, Holtic International, Lockheed Martin, and it's incentivized firms such as Campbell Soup and Cooper Hospital to stay within the region. So Camden's also investing in its future. The Liberty Property Trust has planned a $1 billion redevelopment of the Camden waterfront. It'll have residential, hotel, office, space, all just blocks from our property, so really a huge attraction just at our doorstep. Taking a look at the financials, as I mentioned, we're seeking $12.96 million to contribute to an overall project cost of $35.57 million, and we anticipate an IRR at 15.93%. So taking a look at the big picture, everything's aligning in Camden. We're in the strongest region within Camden. We have close proximity to Philadelphia. We're the leading property, but not the first, so there's not yet oversupply of new projects in the market, but there's also proven successes, such as the Victor Lofts just down the street. We have the institutional support of the EDS and MEDS community. We're in a transformative city, and the project's financially viable. So all that being said, now's your chance to join the Camden Renaissance. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Nicole. Questions?
Just one popped out. How did you get to the 14 months construction duration at your just curious.
Just talking to some construction professionals that live in New Jersey, and it's already a vacant lot, so you don't have to deal with demolition, so it's a pretty expected straightforward process.
What type of construction was it? Concrete construction? Steel?
Concrete.
Concrete. I had a question about your retail. So you, how much square footage of retail?
Go back to this slide. It'll be the square footage of the floor plate.
The bottom two floors,
yes,
correct?
So each floor will be about 6,100 square feet.
And so you said you anticipated like a Whole Foods grocer or something, some type of grocery store. Do you think that's a little bit small for a grocery store? Or did you do some research to kind of show that in urban environments, grocers are kind of looking for these smaller spaces now?
I think when you consider a large supermarket, it would be small. But for this specific Whole Foods program, which are in cities like Detroit or even in Newark, New Jersey, they're looking for that smaller space to be able to put into effect their pricing strategies, not as much rent to pay, so they could take a little price off the goods. So I think it's a good fit for that Whole Foods type program.
Okay. What was your estimated leasable rates for the unit? These are apartments, correct?
Correct. So we looked at different comparables within the region and Camden market rates. So given Camden's history, market or rents aren't hugely expensive, but ours are relatively affordable to the Victor Lofts just down the street. We're about like $1.40 per square foot for each unit. So we really offer large unit sizes for not that much rent in the end.
Question on market, demographics. Did you get an indication of what it looked like in that area and beyond?
So that was a really interesting part of this project because you have kind of two sectors of demographics. You have the Camden residents who are there now, which would prove very favorable for a development project. Not very high education levels, income levels, but really the interesting factor was investment projects are geared toward the institutions. You have the employers of that Cooper Hospital, the different schools, and also the huge student populations of that nearby Rutgers campus or Rowan. So we're really in need of off-campus housing for those students. You need a constant flow of those. So that's what the private investments are geared toward, those institutional stakeholders rather than the Camden residents currently.
One last question for me on the IRR. The IRR seemed a little bit low to me. I mean, still within the ballpark of being realistic, but a little bit on the low side. Can you explain a little bit why you thought with that IRR it still makes sense to do this project?
So it is a little bit on the low side. That's because all our financial analysis was very conservative. We do have a margin to go up with our rents. As I said, we were below the Victor Lofts, a comparable property, and we're just at the Camden level. So as a new property, whereas many of the properties within the region